Good evening, friends. Welcome to today's session on data analysis with pivot tables live tutorial series. This is a 4-week activity, and we are starting day 1 today. We are just going to look at So these are going to be the objectives of these tutorials. We are going to be looking at some data sets, and using that data set, we will, one, use pivot table to run analysis of that data set in response to some questions. Number 2, we will create special charts to visualize data, and then we want to make the charts interactive. So these are the 3 key objectives we hope to achieve in each of these series. Like we say, it's going to be a 4 series event: today, next Friday, and subsequent Fridays for the next 4 Fridays. Now let's look at the background. Havron conducted a campaign involving several countries, and during the campaign, participants were enrolled into the project. Different countries participated. I think we have about 10 countries. And that project lasted for 24 months, from January 2012 to December 2013. Now, different approaches were adopted, basically 3. So we have the grassroots campaign approach, national campaign approach, and then the regional campaign approach. Now, these were the budgets for each month and for each country. And then these were the targets earmarked to be enrolled. This was what was finally enrolled. And then this was the expenditure for each entry. Now, management has requested that we create a dynamic and interactive visualization of the top 5 countries. So we're looking at the contributions of all the countries, and we are isolating the top 5 that contributed most to the total enrollment. That's the first ask. Then the second task is management would like to have the option. So we are going to provide the management with the options of viewing the different contributions. Either they want to view that month by month, or they will aggregate months and view the performance. Say maybe every 3 months or every 6 months, they want to see the visualizations. Now, at the end of today, so we are going to focus on this for today. At the end of today, we will have participants to suggest what should be the task for our 2, that's the second series next Friday. And then we have these suggestions. For this particular data set for us to use the data set, we are going to share a link for attendees to download and follow. So now let's go back to our data set. This is the approach. This is the country, the month, the campaign, the enrollment. Now, what we hope to achieve after we have responded to these questions is to come to something, a dashboard like this. where management may want to be viewing this. You can see if I click on any of these months, it will display the performance for each of these countries. So if I click March 2012, you see they are changing based on the data set that we have here. And if management wants, so we have inserted this, if management wants, rather than viewing this month by month, management may decide to look at this quarter by quarter. And so we have this quarter one for 2012. So these are the performances. When you gather, you aggregate the months in quarter for quarter two, 2012, and so on and so forth. For 2013, quarter four, quarter three, and so on and so forth. So this is what we hope to achieve. We are going to create a pivot table just like this because we have the three different approaches. So we create a pivot table for grassroots. We create another one for the national campaign approach. And then we create the third one for the regional. And then we are going to bring in the countries and put them this way. This is the total enrolled for each country. And then we are going to run an analysis to get this column to return back the contribution of each of these countries with respect to this. So this is what we will be setting out to do. Now let's get started. I am going to go to our data set and let's first of all insert our pivot table. So we go to insert. Here we have our pivot table. And we are going to place this pivot table on a new sheet. I want to be sure that all my data has been captured. There are how many? 8,296 entries. Now we are good to go because it's going to be placed on a new worksheet. So we okay that. Now let's rename this pivot table. We want to make it different from this. Let's say pivot table demo. All right, so let's bring our country to the row. So we have all the countries. Now we are interested in the total enrollment. So this is the number enrolled. We bring it to the values. Now it has given us the total values for the entire record. Cameroon has this and so on and so forth. Let's get another column. So this one, we are going to use this to get the contribution. So what we want to do right now is to use this. What is this percentage with respect to this, knowing that this is the total. So we want to look at the contribution of each country to this total. So I'm going to right click on this second column and I'm going to show value as percentage of the grand total. So this represents 12.9% of this. So let's rename this to mean maybe this is percentage contribution. And then we can rename this as total enrolled. Now let's get our approach. Remember that we are looking at the different approaches. So let's put the approach on our filter and then let's activate multiple select item. So for this, let's look at the grassroots. So you see this has changed because this is now selecting for grassroots campaign alone. Now, I am going to duplicate this. So first of all, let's go and rename this. This is for grassroots. I guess so, So this is a grassroots pivot table. Then we get another one. Let's put this here. And for this, let's select the national. And then let's rename this pivot table national. Let's duplicate this table again to get our third one. Let's get this. And then this is the last one, which is regional. Again, let's rename this pivot table to be regional. Good. Now we have completed our analysis. Like we said, this is a simple analysis. We have responded to the first task. So the second task is to create a visualization, and we want to use progress charts. Now let's go back to that dashboard. You see, this is what we want to insert for each of them. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, maybe we can limit ourselves to the first three. So if we're able to follow up to creating for three, then we can do for as many as we want, just because of time. So to create that, of course, I'm going to give a space or two far away from the pivot table. So here, I usually will get this when I'm creating my special chart. That is a progress chart. What we want to insert is it's a progress chart. Progress chart is a kind of chart that you cannot arrive at it one way. You need to manipulate, you need to combine different charts to come up with one. So we're going to run through this right now. So here, first of all, let's set up our data that should be running and displaying the performance. So here, I'm going to, let's say this is the contribution. Let's just put this. And then let me use this as dummy. So here, I'm going to link this to this. So what this means, I need to change this to percentage. What this means is, and let's get this to show us one decimal place. One decimal place. Okay. Again, so let's do this also. Let's go to pivot, the value field, number format. This is my percentage. I want only one decimal place. Okay, this. So we have this as one decimal position. Now, the two of them are supposed to give me 100%. So how I will get this is to say this is 1 minus this, and I get that. So let me just run this. I'm going to paste the link over there, and I'm going to duplicate this formula here so that this and this gives me 100. Let's cross-check. This and this give me 100. This and this, they give me 100. This and this, they give me 100. I'm looking at it down here. So now we are good to go. I'm going to create this one first, the chart for this one, and then we can run on. But before we go to creating that chart, let's look at the first three. Remember, we are looking at the top three. So our focus now is top three countries. We are going to look at the first three countries. All right. So what I need to do is here, I'm going to right click, filter, top 10. We are interested in three. So let's get our first three, and it's based on this contribution. So I've selected the top three items by contribution. So it's going to isolate here based on the values here and bring out the first top three. So having done this, so for the purpose of this, our event, we don't need this, but we can also leave it out. We'll focus on these three. Right. Now, I am going to insert a donut chart. And usually, I will recommend that you make this square. All right, it doesn't matter, but let's assume that this is square. All right, so we are going to add data to it. So I'm going to right click and then select data because we want to add data. Here, I have my data. So let me call this primary. You can call it anything. It's just for you to remember what you call it at a future. There is a point where we will need to make reference to this series that we are looking at now. So this series name is primary. And what are going to be the values? You see this donut chart? We are going to divide it into 20 so that each slide will be 5 units, okay? Because the entire thing is supposed to give us 100%. Remember, we are looking at 100%. So we are going to divide this into 20. So I'm going to use 1. You can use any number, but make sure that they are the same. If you are using 1, type 1 into 20. If you are using 2, type 2 into 20. Whatever number you're using, type it into 20. That way, all the slices will be the same size. So let's use 1 throughout, and I'm going to put this into 20 places. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There we go. Okay, this. So I'm going to take away this. I don't need this now. Also, this primary, we know it's primary. I don't need it. So what we have simply done is to create the primary slice. So the next thing I need to do, I want to make all of them to look to be of the same color. So I right click. I'm going to format the data series. Over here, there are several things, several formatting we are going to do. Number 1, this donut hole here, let's reduce it. By default here is 75%. So I'm going to reduce this, let's say 50 or 57. There's no fast rule here, depending on your desire, however you want the hole to be. You leave it that way. So having achieved that, I'm going to come over to the fill bokeh. I'm going to choose 1. So let's say solid fill, and it's going to be 1. Let's use green. So I have green now. This is the first one that we have done. So this is what is going to represent our 100%. Now let's bring in what will bring out the score, like this scores now. So again, we are going to right click and add a score now. What we have done, this data we have now is the primary. So now let's get this, our score or contribution, okay? Let's right click. We are going to select data again. Then we are going to add. So let's say I am choosing this one. I can choose that. I can choose all of them. So I have, is going to be for this. So I'm going to select the 2 of them because 2 of them must make up to 100. So I okay this. Okay this. There we are. So the next thing is I am going to transform this combined chart. Remember that there are 2 data series here. So let's go to our change chart type. This is going to be here, combo. So list our 2 series here, the primary series and then the contribution series. So remember that we are using donut for the 2. So selecting that one, I choose donut. So for the contribution, again, I'm going to choose donut. You may also decide to choose pie chart, but I like choosing these 2. Now, my contribution, I want to place it on the secondary axis. So I place this on secondary axis. I'm gone. I'm done. Now, you will see that we have 38.8% as the performance or the contribution of interest to us. And from this, you know that this is that 38. So it is that contribution. I'm going to click it. I've selected this slice. I'm going to no fill. So I'm formatting it now. I'm going to have no field to it. And then I'm going to now select this dummy part of the series. This. Now I come over here. I've selected that. So I'm going to have it solid fill. So having that solid fill, but I'm going to change the color to white. I come here, select white. Then let's adjust the transparency to something like 28. Again, there's no, it's not compulsory that you must choose 28, but as you keep adjusting, you will know how it's best for you. So right now, we have achieved this progress chart. If for any reason this changes, let's say this is 38.8 now, assuming I put 50, or let's say I put 80, it changes to 80. But because we link this, I'm going to undo so that it can pick data from this analyzed pivot table. So the next thing we need to do is we need to bring a value bearer to come into this chart right now. So I'm going to insert, let's pick, what's it called? Maybe text box. A simple text box will do. So over here, let's say this can do. And I am going to link it to this value. So this is an object. I've selected the frame. So it's selected now. As selected, I come over to my formula bar and press equal sign, and then click the value I want it to carry and enter. That becomes the value. So let's format this. Let's make it bold. Let's centralize it. Let's bring it to the middle. And then for this text, can we remove the border? So we come over here, remove the border. Again, let's remove the fill. No fill. Then let's place it. Let's take it over here. We drop it here. Now I am bringing two objects together, this text box and the chart itself. So I'm going to hold down my shift button to select the two of them. So let me go over here and align this. So first of all, I'm going to centralize it and I'm going to put it in the middle. Having achieved this, I can go ahead and group them together. Okay, so that if for any reason I move this, I'm moving two of them together. So we have achieved this now. Now, the next thing that we need to do is to do for this second, this is the first, and then this is the second. Now, what I should have done in the first time was to duplicate so that I won't have to go through the process again. But now that we have accomplished that, we can start for this afresh. However, there's something I needed us to do. You see this we need to change the font color to become green. All right. So that makes it more beautiful. So we are going to do for the second and third again. How do we do that? Let's go and insert a donut chart. Again, try to make it square if you want, but not necessarily so. Having inserted this, let's add data to it. So I right click to select my data. Again, let's call this primary. And then let's get our 111 or 222. So in this case now, let us use something different from 1 so that we can display that. So as I'm using 2, we're going to type 2 into 20 places. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we are good to go. Again, we don't need this, and we don't need this. Now, we go back to the way we started. We are going to give it a solid fill. And let's get, maybe for second position, can we give it blue? Then let's reduce our donut size again to 50 something if we so wish. All right, so this is at the point that we can now duplicate. So I'm going to duplicate this for the third position. And then for this third position, we can decide to choose maybe this. All right, so whatever we do here, we'll come back to return and do here. So again, we are going to now insert our data for the second one, the contribution. So again, this is our contribution. This is our contribution. But the value now are the second one, 31 and 69. Okay, that. Okay, that. Now we are going to transform this. So let's change the type. Go to combo. Primary should be the same thing for the contribution. But now let's put our contribution to, let's place it on the secondary axis. There we are. Again, 31 is the one that we are going to remove fill on our score. So this is our score. We have no fill over here. Then for this other one, we are going to have it as solid fill and then make it white. Then adjust the transparency again to 20 something, depending on what you want. It is not compulsory that this fill must be white. You can choose any other color of your choice. Say for instance, assuming we put red and we adjust the transparency. So it all depends on what you really want. All right, so just to tell you that these are the options of your preference. All right, so let's go ahead, maybe choose something off-white or even white, as the case may be. All right, so we are done with this. Now let's place our value holder, insert a text box, simple. Over here, select the frame, go to your formula bar, press equal, then go and select the data you want to link it with. Then run your formatting, and centralize it, make it at the middle. And because this is blue, let's make it blue so that it can rhyme. And then let's remove any field, no outline. Then let's bring it here. Having done this, select the two objects, align them. First, then go to make it center and make it place it at the middle. Having achieved this, you can go ahead and group. So again, we do the same thing here. So we're going to right click, select data. So this is our contribution now. You can either place it there or you type it, doesn't really matter. Then this is the third one. Remember this and this, which must be equal to 100. Okay, that. Then change the type, go to combo, change them back to what you wanted. Again, change it to what you wanted. Then place your contribution or the risk score on the secondary axis. Okay, this again, this is the one that we are going to have no fill applied. Then this one, we are going to have a solid fill, but in my preference, I prefer white, and then I adjust the transparency. All right, so And again, next thing we do is to insert our value holder text. Again, I select the frame. I go to link it to this third one here. I okay that. Then let me run my formatting. It's going to be bold. It's going to be centralized and placed in the middle. And of course, let me change the color to rhyme with the chart color. Let me remove the fill, remove the outline. Take it to the chart, place it there. Select both the shape and the holder. Center it, place it in the middle, and then of course, group. So we have done for the first three. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is, let me place this, let me zoom out a little bit. So we are going to place this over here, for instance, and this one over here, okay? I'll leave making it look more beautiful to you. All right, so here we are. So the next thing we will want to do is to make sure that this, let me bring it down. We make sure that this one brings out, it follows the name that is here, so that if it changes, it also changes. All right, so what we are going to do is, let me select all this and run a simple thing. I don't want, if I want to resize the cells, but I don't want the size of my chart to be affected. So I come to property here. I'm going to move, but don't size with the cells. So if I move the cells, let them move, but the size of the chart should not move. So that's why I've selected this. All right, so I am going to create something like this. You can see it's moving, but it's not sizing with this. So let me change this again. I can bring this one over here. And this, let me open this. So I'm going to place this here. All right, so let me see. I want to make this thing equal. You know, when you are working on dashboard, it's good to be as near perfect as possible. So this is 27. So let me make all of them 28. These three of them, I want to make it 28 so that they can be equal. So let's make this 28. They are all equal now. And again, you will do some other formatting so that this can be the same size, both in height and in length. So here, I'm going to link this one to this here. Cameron. I'm going to link this to this, and I'm going to link this to this. Okay, so let's run some formatting here again. All right. Now, you will agree with me that for the entire period that this campaign ran, these were the values. But we want to give management the opportunity to view them in either on monthly basis or on quarterly basis if they decide to aggregate the months together. So what we are going to do is we are going to insert slicers. So having clicked my pivot table, I will come over my pivot table, analyze, and try to insert a slicer. And my slicer is going to be on month because this is how the field is written. That's the name of the field that carries the dates. So I put this. Now, let me zoom out. Let me zoom in so that we can look at something now. Now, if I choose January 2012. This is for all the months, all of them selected. So assuming that I'm selecting one after the other, let's see if countries will change, and let's see if the values will change. So if it is only this, now we have Cameroon, we have Ghana, we have Kenya. What about February? We have Cameroon, we have Ghana, we have Zambia. What about this? Cameroon and Kenya are still on this. Cameroon is still here, but now we have Ethiopia and Kenya here. So it is changing. I have inserted this and I'm interacting with it. However, you will know that this is for grassroots. So it's the same thing that we did here that we need to repeat for the national campaign and the regional. All right, so this is one aspect of it. So I'm going to create another dashboard. Let's say this is dashboard demo, again, for the purpose of this. So I'm going to select all this. Let's say I cut this and I bring them over here. Let's place them here. Are they still working? They are still working. All right, so in our other tutorial, we describe how to construct dashboard. So we're not going to waste time over here. Rather, we'll just go straight to do the basic thing. We want to remove the grid lines. That's my grid line now. View, okay, I want to remove the grid lines. Can't find the grid lines here again. Okay, this is selected. So, all right, can't find it right now. All right, so let's go to, okay, you will also agree with me that I missed out something here. That's the countries that are following them. So I ought to have selected this. So let's choose this. Let's select this and see if this is going to, okay. It will mean that we'll need to run this again. So let's just place that values here and run again. These are formats, make it 28. All right, so we bring this one over here. What we did at the other side is what we are going to repeat here. All right, so this comes in here. So to make this look nice, okay, we are going to do some formatting here again. All right, so for this one, Cameroon here, let's color it green and then make the text white. Not all of them, not all of them. Okay, so then over here is blue, our light blue. Over here is this golden color. All right, so if we change this, they will be changing values. They'll be changing values. Okay. All right, so there we go. And what's the next thing to do? Let's go back to what we got here. So the other ones are just for aesthetic look. We want to make it to look more beautiful. So we have done this. We'll pause here to find out if there are questions, and then we'll continue. So we pause for now.